Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Indian Cine-MANIACS. How's it going, everybody?
Fantastic.
Great.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, good
Hey,
week.
if you notice, we have someone back.
Hello, Debbie. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Everyone's been asking for you, Deb. Everybody want to know where you were.
We
I
do.
have.
That
Yep.
really is sweet to hear that, but
We need a doctor's note to say that you were really sick and not just sick of the podcast, okay?
I will turn that in.
Yeah, that was the
Thank
rumor
you.
on the street, Deb.
Yeah.
You were just sick of the podcast.
Right.
No,
Okay,
that's
good.
not.
I mean,
either.
Sean started that rumor.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I said she was sick of somebody on the podcast.
Oh,
Okay.
Not the podcast.
All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to
Poor
do
Chris.
a talk about the film K.G.F.
That's
But before we do
Colonel
that-
Sanders?
That's what it's.
that's
that's the
something
second time you've done that joke. That's
Sorry.
good. But
It's
before we
just
do
as
that,
funny as the first.
He's going to
time.
do it until someone laughs.
so we're going to do this film, then we'll do the spin the wheel. I've eliminated that movie that was up there twice. Just want everybody to know. But before we get started, Drew has a little bit of news about our RRR, the film RRR.
Yes, I do. As you know, I'm a bit of a fan, and I'm excited to see that it continues to sell out screenings in Los Angeles at the Chinese Theater, and people are losing their minds, dancing during the movie, and it's turning into a Rocky Horror interactive crazy thing.
Nice.
And that's apparently quite authentic to Indian audiences who like to bring confetti and throw it when the names of the actors that are in the movies are there and when they appear. And I know this because S.S. Rajamouli was on Seth Meyers last night and talked about how completely insane and wonderful everything is, this movie getting the attention it's getting all around the world. It's maybe about 10 minutes. It was on after Allison Williams, who we know John loves from The Perfection. And it's on YouTube and it's in your video on demand. So I recommend that you check it out. And also Jason Blum of Blumhouse, he tweeted today, this gigantic Hollywood producer that seems to have successful horror movies come out every 2 weeks. He tweeted, RRR is going to win Best Picture. That's it. It's over. Game over.
That would be amazing.
Didn't we predict that?
What?
Drew, didn't we? This podcast predict?
Of course, but we don't have the audience of Jason Blum, and I think it's funny because it reminded me of in a bad way of when Paul Walker died, and then they did the last Fast and the Furious where they said goodbye to him, which was actually kind of sweet. And Vin Diesel was like, "We're gonna win Best Picture. It's the best movie ever made." Blah blah blah. I feel more confident that RRR has a shot.
Did it play in the movie
than that
theaters
movie.
before it was on Netflix?
RRR opened here in March.
In the theaters.
It did pretty well. It
Oh, okay.
reopened for one day in June,
Yeah.
which was right before I heard about it. And I was like, oh, well, shit, I guess I'll watch it on Netflix. And
When did the
rest is
nominations
It'll
come
get
out?
history.
nominated, but the Academy's never going to pick that as Best Picture.
I mean, I don't think it's very likely, but that's, the
Didn't
hard
Parasite,
get
win
nominated.
didn't Parasite win Best Picture?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it did. And it's a great movie.
And RRR is getting so much press right now, so
Yeah,
much
but-
positive press that. Well,
I don't see
all
it.
right.
I see it getting nominated.
Well, that sounds great. I hope
wish
at
it
least
would.
gets nominated. That would be.
And we're talking about RRR, not RR and R, because sometimes I confuse those
roar.
two
What
movies.
are the three words? Roar, rare.
I think it will be shocking if it doesn't get a nomination for Natu, especially because Natu might even win tonight. But everything else is kind of up in the air. I don't know, what it's going to be. But the people who love the movie really love the movie, and none of us are Oscar voters, but some of the Oscar voters. Apparently, one of the Chinese theater screenings, they had a guest introduce the movie, and it was J.J. Abrams. So all these people are they're just in love with
I'd
it.
love
and
to
they've
see
been
that
pushing
dance
it.
number at the Oscars. That would be awesome.
That's kind of been my dream the whole time.
How are they going to
And,
speed that up though if they do it live? I don't understand how that's going to work.
Ralph. Ralph's the only one saying that. None of
he
us are
is.
saying that. All right, just want you to know that.
All right, so let's go to this film called KGF. Sean, you're going to give us a little synopsis, please?
Yes, KGF stands for Kohler Goldfields, and it's about this. There's a bridging story where an author is telling that these gold mines existed, and a hero that came. Basically, organized crime found this gold fields. They killed the people who found it, and they steal people and enslave them as gold miners so that no one will find out about it. And the story involves a character named Rocky, not Balboa, who he's a gangster. He grew up poor. I believe his father was one of the laborers. And his mother, he had a very strong relationship with his mother who died early, who told him to be rich. and he gets into crime, and he's like a legendary gangster, but he has it in his mind he's going to free these people, so he allows himself to become enslaved, and he ends up at the gold mine to kill the owner. And that's essentially the plot. It's another one of these Indian superhero movies. The guy's not a superhero, but it's a guy that has unbelievable fighting skills. And I shouldn't say Indian like that, because that's very Hollywood too. You know, if John Wick used his fists more than guns, he could be John Wick, you know. So it's a straight up action film. In many ways, it's the most contemporary one we've looked at. It has, in the sense of editing and everything, it's cut very fast, fashion, music. You know, it's a very lively motion picture. But I don't want to get into the critique yet. But that's it.
Well, I just have a question, because I'm not sure if I understood this correctly. He didn't go in there to free the slaves. He went in there to kill the guy by getting in with the slaves. And as he was enslaved, he started to turn around about freeing them. He didn't go in.
That's
how
I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how. Okay.
And,
I'm not crazy, right?
Didn't somebody send him in to do
the
this?
cartels, all the other gangsters.
So the purpose is them to get control of that mine, right?
To kill the leader.
Right.
Wasn't his family involved in that mine in the beginning?
No, you said that. That's correct. His father was
Yeah.
there where they found the gold, and he was born there, but he wasn't enslaved there.
Right.
No. He was one of the people they killed because they only wanted slaves working on it.
We don't want to start the critique now? You want to talk more about it?
I think that it's a very simple plot this time.
Yeah.
You know, I did read
doesn't
one
feel
review.
simple
For
when you're
someone who
watching
takes
it, though.
3 times to get the opening right, that's a pretty bold statement, right?
Well,
Yeah, wow.
I'm sure you didn't see all the takes they missed in their film. John, what they do is they use the best takes. That's how film works.
Well, I was always one take John, so I don't really know what that's like.
So, yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. I was confused by this film quite a bit.
It is
And
confusing.
you're saying it's contemporary, but I had the feeling that was he a gangster in the past or a gangster in the future? Like, did that the thing in the?
I think he's a gangster since he was a kid, and he hit that policeman in the head with the bottle.
Right.
Well, the present was with the reporter telling the
Right.
story.
I understand that.
Flashing
I
back.
About the book.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And
But
the
I-
author was and the guy, the best boy or whatever he was all into the story. He was me. I was like, yeah, you see that. I was that kid. I was very, like I said, this movie confused me, and it was. I understand it was beautiful. You know, obviously, I'm going to say it again. All the money was on the screen.
Well,
All the extras. I don't know if that's CGI, if that's all those people. Most
Probably
of the
both.
mine stuff was CGI. You could see some of that, but I was confused of timelines. Like, I wasn't sure if that was happening in the past and he becomes a gangster. He was a gangster because they keep referring to that. And I guess the next movie is a continuation of this one.
There's going to be 7 total, they said.
7 of these?
7?
Yeah. After the second one came out, it was an even bigger hit. They said something about we're going to do 5 more. And I was like, cool.
Is this James Cameron?
I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, no, he's not even making that many avatars yet. So
Yeah.
what did you guys think of the film? Anybody else?
well, you talked about how it's
I got
hard to
more,
tell
but-
what's going on when and the
Yeah.
time. I was very confused by that. I also think, and this is not a criticism or praise, I don't think it really mattered because I think the movie was just a grenade of an experience launched at the audience, and that's what
I
people
think that's
wanted.
what-
Because if you look at the IMDb reviews, they're all 10s and 1s.
Right.
And people just had these huge reactions to this movie. It was the most expensive Kannada language movie ever made. There's like 4 different versions of it on Amazon Prime. I was able to find the original language version, and that's what I watched. And the whole thing is just so fast and crazy, and I didn't like it. I watched it over 2 nights because I started it too late. So when I watched the first half of it, I said, I am not enjoying this. It's not even that it's like dumb or something. I don't feel like, I feel like 2 things are happening that I don't like. There's such frenetic stuff going on, I can't follow it. And also there's a shitload of voiceover explaining what's happening, and I don't understand half of that either.
Well,
And so I took chapter 2 off my watch list.
I agree with you 100% with everything you're saying. And the other added problem, and one of the commenters said this, is those subtitles were flying by. Debbie, that must have driven you
mainly in the
crazy.
beginning.
I was racking my brain.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
So
it
you
was-
have this frenetic cutting of the movie, and the
work.
subtitles are phonetically cutting too, and there's no way to keep up with what the thoughts are.
And this goes contrary to what we watch a movie for, is for entertainment, maybe. But there was nothing, when you're feeling like you're working at watching a movie.
No, it was a tough watch.
And I think how to fix it with all the fixes is just have it dubbed.
I'm sure they've got versions where there's an English translator.
I think if they'd be available on Netflix or.
I don't know if that would have helped this one, given the muddled, I mean, and again, it's all mythology. Now, I will say, I was the actor playing
Vash.
Yash. Is that his name? Yash. Vash.
That's the actor's name, Vash.
Yeah.
I mean, I was into his characterization of what was going
And
on.
his
He
hair.
was super cool. I mean,
Oh man, you
super
brought
cool.
up his hair. I was going to talk about his hair.
Elvis Presley,
Well,
right?
His hair was magnificent.
I don't know, Elvis Presley. I mean, he reminded me of the two guys in RRR, just what he was showing.
You remind
And
me
then
of Terminator.
I'll just say this. I didn't like any of the movie, but I love the dance number with that girlfriend of his. Holy cow.
Wait, the girlfriend didn't do the dance.
Wasn't
no,
that
it was
her?
the other woman.
No, that
The
was
one
Oh,
with
I'm
the
so
volley.
confused.
She was a little
Yeah, I
more
was confused
voluptuous
too.
than
They
the
look
other
like
one.
Oh,
the
okay.
same.
So
No,
that
it
was
was,
not
oh,
the
yeah.
girl. Well, whoever's
No.
doing that dance, I
Yeah.
like that woman.
It was Tamana Bhatia who was in Bahubali.
Oh.
She's the woman he kind of follows up the falls at the beginning
Okay.
with the butterflies and stuff.
Wait,
that's
that
her.
who's the dancer was?
That's the dancer. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the
She was-
dancer.
This
She was
I like
smoked.
this move, whatever that was. That was cool.
Yeah.
But I was confused. It went on way too long. This one I really felt the time. And I just didn't enjoy it. Chris.
Well, I said
What,
I took it off my watch list halfway through the second one. After I finished watching it, I put the second one back on because it started to get a story together. And I'm a sucker for a story that most people are a sucker for, which is, there's great injustice and somebody's going to free these people, even though that wasn't his original goal. And I found that when it started to have a story, that was somewhat satisfying. But the whole thing is basically El Dorado. And the idea, if you find this golden city, you'll control the world, which is a very sort of, I think, old-fashioned idea for us that we might have read about in history class or seen in the Disney movie or something. And apparently that was very resonant with audiences, that specific kind of, like, they don't talk about, I'm going to be the gangster, I'm going to be the Don. They start talking about, I'm going to be the emperor, I'm going to be the king, I'm going to rule everything. And that's the kind of thing, like, I think when you watch The Godfather, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be in charge of everything, but they don't really mean everything. They want to control things, but they don't need to sit on the throne that, runs the actual world. And these guys are like, we're the gangsters that are going to control everything. We're going to control the gold, all that kind of stuff. And so that sort of hyper crazy thing, it didn't do it for me, but I got it. It was like,
I got the movie. It's not that I didn't understand what was going on.
Well, I didn't
just
for the
felt
first
like
hour. I had no idea who any of the people were.
Well, it took a while, but once we get into the prison,
Well,
once we
one
get into
reviewer said, and he was accurate, he goes, well, the first thing they do in the first hour is introduce 40,000 characters.
yeah, that's true.
Right.
But once we get into the mines and we get what's going on there, then it took on a story that I could follow.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't really care for this one either, mostly because I felt like I was watching a 2.5 hour trailer for a movie. It just, especially at the beginning, once you get to the mine, like you guys have mentioned, things start to congeal. It starts to look a little bit more like a movie, but it just feels like a music video. The funny thing is I love the musical numbers in this movie.
Oh,
I
my
thought
God.
not only the thing scene on the dock with all his like gang guys, obviously the one in the nightclub where he's using the one woman to make the other lady jealous kind of thing. Those were both great numbers. I thought they were really well staged. They were really cool. They were catchy, but it just felt like it was so quick cutting. The camera never stayed still. It felt like Michael Bay, but more, if you take my meaning.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
like we've already touched on, there was just relentless voiceover. And it was still hard to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, it did not clear things up.
Yeah, it's like, if you're going to have a voiceover, at least make it clear, at least make people go, oh, okay, That's what Rick Deckard is feeling right now. I could
Right.
figure that out from his facial expressions, but thanks for telling me. You know,
Well, that's the thing about the voiceover is like a lot of times when I think of a voiceover, I feel like, oh, you guys don't trust me and the audience to follow this, like what your example from Blade Runner is. But in this, I feel like it was just another part of what they threw at you. And maybe like this movie's not for me. That doesn't mean I can't like it or can't watch it or can't appreciate it or anything. It's not made for me at all. It's made for an Indian audience and made for maybe even the specific slice of the Indian audience, which is fine. People make movies that aren't for me all the time. If Tyler Perry makes a movie, I can watch it, but he didn't make it for me.
Yeah.
So I think I felt on the outside of some cultural things, of course, when we've been watching these movies, but this one I felt that the most, and I didn't feel that was bad. I was just like, whoa, this is really aimed at some other specific place, and it's a different thing.
You guys
it
are
felt
so-
like Michael Bay with Screaming.
You guys are so funny. I mean, you just don't want to criticize the movie. You keep saying,
I just said I couldn't figure out what was going on or who the characters were in the first
I know,
hour.
but it's always, the qualifier is, I'm not saying it's bad. I just probably didn't get it. Just
When you
criticize
realize
the movie. I mean, this movie was
You could do
long
both.
and it was just in your face. And I mean, notwithstanding the actor was fantastic. I want to see another film he's in.
I
wanna
thought he
see
was
the
ridiculous. I thought it was overacting and
Well,
silly. And,
the
Wait, you
cigarette,
thought
he had the
Lead was
cigarette.
overacting?
yeah, Yash.
Hey,
That's so
did you
funny.
ever?
Everybody
did you
was
watch-
overacting, and he was doing when he's courting the girl, and he's doing that thing we've seen in a lot of Indian movies where I'm basically going to be creepy till I wear you down. He was just.
They all do it in
it
these
was,
films.
I know it's
Listen,
gross.
but the thing that got me is this film. I don't know if you guys watched it, but that had the cigarette commercials at the beginning.
Oh my god,
The
Yeah, that was awful.
anti-cigarette.
Oh yeah.
Right, and it's like,
yeah.
what you said, and now it kind of goes with that film. The film is gray and dark and dingy, and once you get into prison, and and then
there-
every time someone
There are
pulls
not
out a
as many
cigarette,
tumors though.
the warning pops up on the left about cigarettes could kill you.
Yep.
And drink.
And in my head, I'm looking at I remember the tumors from one of those ads. I'm like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
what kind of experience is this?
John,
John,
you were saying something?
go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, the
Sorry.
point being about a film, when you think about a film, it's a lot of work for people.
Yeah,
It's a job for them, and just for the pure act of working so hard to produce something and have a visual movie, it's an effort. And I don't want to shoot anybody's effort.
no, I fully support the making of this film,
yeah.
100%. Everybody involved. I
You
just
know, it's a
like
beautiful
Drew
thing.
saying, it's not
It's a
for me.
beautiful
This one
thing.
didn't work on any level for me, any level, except the dancing. Watching that woman dance was
Except the dancing.
stunning. John, go ahead.
Yeah, there were things about this movie I liked. I like the fact that it was so different from anything else we've seen.
It was.
And Chris already said it, but the whole time I'm watching, I'm thinking MTV. That's all I kept thinking about. Everything was so quick and frenetic, and everyone talked about that when we announced that we were.
I'm sorry.
doing
What
this
year
movie.
did this come out?
2018.
Okay, so it's pretty
2018.
recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a movie of two halves, right? The first half is the backstory of him, and it's the contemporary, what we think is contemporary. He's a gangster, and he's becoming more powerful, and he's becoming well known. Then, as soon as he goes into the gold mine, it becomes a completely different movie that I think had a little more linear storytelling. And I don't mind non-linear storytelling,
Sure.
but I do like storytelling. And I was just kind of surprised at the lack of story in this. And the other thing I was wondering, and again, I don't know this because I don't know the culture as well, was this their version of a superhero movie? Because if you look at him, he's practically invulnerable. He takes on all comers, no matter how many there were. I mean, there were groups there that he was beating up, 25, 30 people. So so I kind of thought of a Superman analogy. The mother leaves him, she dies, passes him off, he becomes this hero, and they're like hero villain. I actually liked Vash a lot. I loved his hair. He probably had 20 lines in the whole film. I mean, he barely spoke in this film. So when Drew says he's over the top, I don't think he was over the top. I don't disagree that a lot of the cast was. It reminded me of the Terminator. That's his character reminded me of the Terminator. Although I did like the scenes with the woman that was her first movie role. She was some kind of beauty contestant, and she was absolutely beautiful. But I like the way he won her over by doing that nice thing for the woman who dropped the bread in the street.
Yeah.
I kind of like that because it showed why he's motivated to do certain things. But overall, like RRR, Three Idiots, I could watch scenes from that over and over again. This probably isn't one that I could do that with.
Yeah, it's not very rewatchable at all.
No, but I appreciate the action set. But to me, it was like a bunch of action set pieces strung together with a little bit of story. And I like the action set pieces. I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I kind of looked at it as almost a comic book movie. But the story to get to those scenes weren't very good. He was very good in it. I liked him a lot. Again, very charismatic.
Let me ask you this: would you follow his character to other movies? Like if they,
I would like to see the sequel to this.
Okay,
I would like to see the sequel to this because they left it on such a cliffhanger, and
They
I want to
did,
know.
which I didn't expect.
Yeah, I want to know what happened because I tell you, this movie did keep my attention. Okay, and that scene at the end, I was wondering how it was going to play out with the tunnel underneath, and the villain who I thought was a good villain was there at that big celebration. You're wondering how's he gonna do this, and then you slowly started to figure it out as the other guy was trying to figure it out. So that scene I actually liked. But my biggest complaint about the action scenes, there was just way too much slow motion. I mean, like something that didn't require any slow motion.
oh, that's what I loved. I love the final bit of slow motion when they finally get into.
I liked that, but the rest of it,
But again, this is another one where the bad guys.
RRR had a lot of
not like this. It was
this was super slow. Like this was slow.
Way too slow.
Now, do you think they slowed it down, or were they acting
this was
slow?
Very slow. I got to tell you, this was really slow.
But I want to know: did they slow it down, or did the actors do it?
Please go ahead.
Can I break in for a minute? Not to just won the Golden Globe for Best Original Song.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. Wow.
That is
I'm
awesome.
taping it in the other room.
That's
I am
amazing.
very
flamenco.
excited about that.
That's
I'm
amazing.
very excited about that.
Wow.
Watch how it went and who accepted and all that stuff.
Did they
later,
perform it?
No, it's the Golden Globes. They just get drunk.
Yeah, but they're all
and then,
drunk at
just
the Golden
drink.
Globes. I thought they'd do that.
they'll play a clip or something.
Wow. That's
So
what got
sorry for interrupting. I
Cine-MANIACS
just
going.
wanted to.
I don't think anybody gets
Breaking
their
news.
face slapped.
So, well, let me just say about this film. It's funny. Drew said how on IMDb it's all 10s and 1s. Now, this film was recommended to us by a lot of people.
Yeah, but a lot of people
Once
said
we
don't
picked
watch it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did. That's
If
true.
you look at the notes, or people are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we wish you weren't watching this.
Yeah.
You're going to hate that movie.
right. They
You're
were
going
right.
to hate it. You're going to hate it." One person after another. But a lot of people recommended it, so I think that's kind of funny. And it's just the one strength of American films. There's a lot I like about Indian films, particularly their willingness to go with the moment and go with the emotion. But, it doesn't have to be so linear. I mean, it's like, do we really have to see him grow up and this and that? Can we just, start? To me, the great introduction of the character was when he was up on the chains and the guy's calling his father. "Oh, you think Rocky's bad? I have him chained up here." And the father's like, "You can't chain the typhoon," and everything. And he's warning his son. His son's like blowing him off. And then you see that, Rocky isn't concerned, and he, makes mincemeat to everyone except the boss's son, who he just sort of like mocks periodically. Now, to me, that's a great introduction to the character. And if it was an American film, that's how you would have started it. And occasionally, so he would see kids in the street, and then you would see him looking pensively.
Don't
And then
all
you would
these
cut
films
back
have
into
to
the-
show the mother having a difficult childbirth
I know, right?
to
A lot of
to
them do.
create this prodigy that they
Think
all of them
about the
have this
mothers
difficult-
in these films throughout.
Yes.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Bahubali.
Yeah.
And he got slapped
sure.
a few times. It can't be an Indian film without
The slapping of the child.
Gotta have the slaps.
But the mother's the one that said to go after the group alone.
Right.
It wasn't her dying. It was the advice she gave him as a child when he went back and beat up that group of kids that bullied him. You have to
Yeah.
go back alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what built his character.
Yeah, I have to say it's funny that scene, Sean, was very John Wick to me. When John Wick's the villain, his father, who's like the gang boss, basically finds out his son did this terrible thing, and then he finds out it was to Baba Yaga, to John Wick, and he's like, oh, and then that sort of, this guy is so bad that are so powerful that you should be afraid of him even when he's chained up. And that was one part of the movie that didn't work for me. If you watch John Wick, and it's not a direct comparison, I'm not trying to say one is better than the other in a way. It's just the specific choice that they made. When you watch John Wick, he does all these crazy things, and the fighting and the shooting and the stunt work and the choreography and the jiu-jitsu and everything is amazing. He gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
I at no point in this movie felt like anybody was going to get the upper hand.
Like he was in danger.
Yeah, and you said it's like a superhero movie, except there wasn't even like a boss fight at the end. Like the way he surprised him and attacked him, I didn't have a problem with that. But that guy was, as you said, a pretty good villain with that ridiculous Vin Diesel voice and everything. Yeah. But he just, the way he killed him, I was like, oh, no wonder there's another 3-hour movie after this, because that guy's just like the level 10 boss, and we're going to have to get up to the level 7 or level 17 and level 38. And there's that Kaiser Soze character that we haven't seen their face yet, that I guess is the villain of the next one, all this other stuff. But it bothered me that he was so superhuman. It's okay if you hit somebody with a shovel and knock down 10 of their friends and, throw motorcycles. I'm cool with that. But he was never in danger. Did he get bruised?
To me, that was the problem with the Matrix sequels. The first Matrix movie was great. But when he can fly at the end and nothing can happen to him.
Do you guys watch Mission Impossible to see what that guy goes through? I mean,
but he looks like he's going through it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
he looks like he's going through it.
Okay, this guy was a little bit above all that.
Like, it's okay if you're a human and you can do superhuman stuff. Like Tom Cruise drowns in the fifth one after he swims in that underwater vault thing. I mean, the real man can hold his breath for 6 minutes. I'm okay that he can do more than regular people, but he died. This guy would just come out and spit out water and punch another 10 people, so it's just the way that they created him as a character. I didn't find it as dramatic, but again, I didn't know what the hell was going on for the first half of the movie.
Well, it's sort of like Jason in a Friday the 13th film.
Well, he's actually dead.
He's not going to die.
No, right.
But what
never.
It's sort of like what amuses you or should amuse you is as long as you are enjoying the action sequences. And there were bits I liked, like when he was trying to impress that girl and he's beating up all those guys. And that one thing where he beats the one guy up and then he looks kind of a mess and he uses the unconscious guy's hand.
love that. Pull his hair back. Yeah, I did like that.
Oh, yeah.
He used
to
his
me,
hand.
that's sort of like, okay, this film kind of won me over.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just, you have to sit through 2.5 hours to see that one little shot. And it's like, no.
But you're right. It's very confusing at the beginning, and it takes a long time. But that's been true of a lot of the films we've been watching.
Yeah, but eventually they catch up. And
what really bothered me is when he's hanging by his wrists with the chains. That really, I actually felt that pain of that.
She doesn't like to hang by her wrist.
I think that
we have to do the ankles.
Okay. That's good to know.
All right.
One other thing that I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember if it was Chris or John that said they basically felt like you were watching a trailer for the movie.
That's Chris.
That was Chris. So one of the things that it kept jumping out at me, and it's like, it's silly, so it didn't ruin anything for me. But when you said the trailer thing, it really made me realize there's so many lines that are the same line. Like, you think, he's in trouble because there's 20 of you, but it's the 20 of you that are in trouble. And that some kind of that idea is said like easily 15 times.
Yeah, like
movie.
gasoline. It's like,
well, you're saying they beat you over the head?
Like gasoline.
But it was like a trailer. It was like the whole thing was the best lines from a trailer kind of thing. And that wasn't like exciting drama to watch.
When all that gas was on the floor and he's walking through it with his cigarette.
That was fun.
I just loved that scene. That was great.
This coward. I mean, there's no question.
See, that's the kind of thing I liked about the movie.
Yeah.
But you have to read
that's why
through
I
all
brought
the
it up.
All right. Here's the question.
Oh, you cutting us off?
Yes. Zuby do or Zuby don't? I want to see if you guys are going to be honest.
Well, I'm going to say a line from the movie, and I'm going to vote bottoms up and lick the pickle.
Okay. I don't know. Is that a good review or bad review? Sean and Debbie. I saw Chris's thumbs down, so that's a Zuby don't over there.
A Zuby don't.
I'm gonna say
Zuby do. Zuby.
I gotta say no.
Zuby
I didn't like
don't.
Zuby don't.
We don't have one, but I'm going to say Zuby meh. I'm kind of in the middle on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with the commenters, like Sean was saying, that we're saying don't watch this after we already picked it. I say Zuby don't. I just couldn't. I love the guy. Rocky was great. I loved it as Motorcycle had his name on it, so I knew his name.
And his hair, his magnificent
And the hair was great. And the
Oh.
cigarette, fighting with the cigarette and fighting with the booze and all that, and the dance number. But I would never,
hubba, hubba.
I wouldn't recommend the film, and I don't think I don't think I'm going to watch the second
This is
one or the
probably
third
my
one or
least-
the
one of
fourth
my
one or the
least
fifth one.
favorite.
What's that, Sean?
This may be my least favorite, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the kinetic.
So far, this and the other one, the bobble, the two, whatever that was.
The Bobolinsky?
I don't-
Bahubali.
Bahubali.
Both
I
of
didn't
them
like
were
that.
But it's also
spectacular.
too,
I-
we watched
again,
this one.
I still love the one about the blind piano player, and that's
Oh, yeah.
the vibe
Dune.
that I
That's fun.
absolutely love. So
Scott and Drisham were
Grisham was
amazing.
great. Yeah. And Kantara, the one we saw in the movie theater, I still
Oh, you
use
guys
that.
love that one.
I still use the yell.
I'm gonna have to see that. That's streaming now.
That's
I'm
on
gonna have to see that.
that's on Prime. I do
Yeah.
want to watch that.
Yeah.
I do want to
So
watch that.
anyway, good news about the dance number
Yeah.
and RRR. That's exciting. So let's go to the
Awesome.
wheel, see what the next one they're gonna want us to watch.
Yeah, look at the wheel.
Lagan is like 4 hours long. I hope
Lagan.
it's
That's the one
That's
I'm
supposed to
rooting
be the
for.
best one.
We're about to do a trailer review of that one. So
Oh my
let's see
God,
if it's
you
gonna
put
fit.
Lal Singh Chadha on there? Oh,
Yes,
God.
that was Sean. Sean wanted that.
Ah,
Hater.
good.
this is the
Taboo.
Hamlet one. This is
Oh,
the Indian.
Boo.
Oh, our ladies in this one?
Oh,
This one was
Taboo's in
highly
it.
recommended.
Nice.
Yeah.
Taboo,
Don't be a
yeah.
hater.
Hamlet,
I like
Taboo.
her.
Our lady Taboo's in this, and it was highly recommended. Let's see.
I
what
wonder if
the
she
comments
plays a villain.
Isn't this Lady Macbeth?
No, it's Macbeth,
It's
not Lady
Hamlet, I
Macbeth.
thought.
It's
Hamlet.
McDonald's.
Hamlet, yeah.
It's
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
All right. Well, that's our next film. Hater.
All right.
Excellent.
See what the commenters say about this one.
A lot of them want us to watch it, so I think
All right.
Yeah.
A lot of them wanted us to watch KGF, but a lot of them were like, "Oh no!"
yeah, I thought that was
Watch
interesting.
it.
I appreciate your honesty in the comments talking about
They were
uh,
adamant
all
about
of
it.
it. Yeah, I think it's
Listen, what
great.
I'm really thrilled about is I know we kind of got on the RRR wagon late, but it's changed our approach to our podcast, and it's really exciting to see that thing getting such press
Oh,
here
yeah.
in the United States. And as I'm recommending to everybody I talk to now, I say you got to see this thing. You got to see what's going on.
I've been recommending it.
I
too.
think it's going to get huge, and I hope they re-release it in the movie theaters before the Oscars to maybe hype it up.
I
a
hope we
more.
played a small part in its popularity.
I think we
That's all
might have.
Well, if
I
we
think
played
we-
a part, it was definitely small.
It was
Yeah.
very small.
Well, whatever. Good
So
thing
there you
it's a
know,
small package.
John, you have something to
Press
say
small
work.
part.
about subscribing, or should
There's
we just
no
not
small
worry about it?
parts.
It's how you use the part.
I just think based on what RRR is doing, that should make you want to subscribe, hit the notification button, and what the hell, just for RRR's sake, smash the like button.
There you go.
What the heck?
Good job.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, everybody. Nice job. That was one that we had a little disagreement on.
Well, they
Little bit.
can't all be gems. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
So we're not going to put part 2 on the wheel.
I think part 2 will not be put on the wheel.
Well, once we're
I'm
done
fine
with all
with
these
that.
other movies, maybe we'll throw it up there.
we gotta empty
Gotta
this
take the good
wheel
with
and
the
then we
bad.
start over.
There you go.
We got a long time, I guess. So we'll see. All right, everybody, have a good week.
Well, we'll die eventually, I guess.
Eventually.
Eventually.
One day.
Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.